Good morning. Thank you for joining me. It's a cold morning in New Hampshire. We've had a little snow overnight. I'm sitting in my meditation spot watching the birds with a kitty on my lap and my favorite crystal. This morning I'm going to continue with my story. I'm going to go back to my 5-year-old self and my love of crystals and where that comes from. When I was 5, I lived in a bedroom, of course, with my older sister. And this bedroom faced the cottage bakery. And every morning, about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, I would awaken to the smells of donuts frying, cakes baking, pies, breads. And in the summertime with the windows open, the warm air would waft the smells of fresh baked goods. Hence my love of baking and eating. It was always a comforting feeling waking up to those smells every morning. And every night when I went to sleep, I'd fall asleep to the bakery light that shone in my bedroom. It was a safety light, and it would shine into my room, and I'd fall asleep staring at that light. And then I would go into dream time. My dreams at 5 could be scary at times. I can remember being chased by tigers. And other times, I would jump up into the air and fly. And whether that was a dream or in my twilight between sleep and dreaming, I don't know. I just know that I would jump up in the air and I would fly around the telephone poles and look down at the ground, and it was so freeing and so wonderful to be able to fly. I wasn't like a bird flapping my wings. I would just, in my body or out of my body, just jump up and fly around looking down at the earth. Another dream that I'd like to relate to you because it falls into a past life remembering. I didn't know it as a 5-year-old that it was a past life, but it was a recurring dream of being a soldier. And it was in the Civil War, and I determined that much later when I realized the outfit that I was wearing was from the Civil War. And I was a soldier holding a gun, walking in the green grass, and was coming over just a very small hill. And when I got to the top of this little hill, there was another soldier standing there with his gun, and he shot me. And I don't remember feeling the pain in my dream, but the dream was more about the shot, a sense of fear when I saw him. But then I floated up above my body, and I watched my body fall onto the ground. And that's about when I would wake up. And I didn't wake up in fear. I woke up in a floaty type of world. I can't really quite describe it, but it was just, if you're floating up above your body, you don't feel anything. You're just feeling, I guess, a nothingness, or there was just no emotion there in that space. That was my first dream or vision, as you would, of a past life. And of course, at 5, I didn't know what it was, but I dreamt it enough that I remembered it later on in life when I discovered and started reading about past lives. Just building in a little background as to who I am. And as a Pisces child, I was very quiet. unless I was fighting with my brother, who was younger than me. But I enjoyed my quiet time. And one of my older siblings used to work in a jewelry factory, and he brought home these cut colored glass that they used in rings. It was like these beautiful looking gems, all different colors. And he brought home handfuls of them. And we had this little glass or mirrored tray that you'd put a hairbrush and a comb in. And so we put those, I say we because my older sister liked them as well, but we had them on that mirrored tray, and I would sit for hours and stare at those little gems and make up all kinds of stories and made believe that they were real emeralds and diamonds and rubies, and played with them and lined them up and talked to them and just looked into their depths and looked at the shiny little rainbows and that they created. I'd put them in the sunlight and just play with these things for hours. So if you have a Pisces child and they're very quiet for long periods of time, they have such an imagination. And also, as I grew a little bit older, it wasn't just an imagination, but it was sitting there remembering. I would sit for hours and just remember what my life was like a few years earlier or as a child. I spent a lot of time just daydreaming, I guess. A lot of people would call it wasting time, but that's what a Pisces does. It's part of who we are. So my love of crystals came from that time period. I always loved sparkly diamonds and things and always just enjoyed looking into their depths. And that was my first experience with past life. I had no idea, but as a child, when you're that young, you're so close to the other side still that you have those memories and those dreams. And this was a very powerful dream for me, and it happened a lot. I'd fall asleep to that bakery light. I would have that dream early in the morning and wake up to the smell of donuts and cakes. Hope you found that little story interesting. It's kind of fun to remember and go back in time. I love just staring out that window and looking at the sun and watching the snow fall, and it just brings back a lot of great memories. It was a peaceful time in my life.